Hey guys, hello. I want to talk to you guys about the difference between misbehavior and stress behaviors in kids. I think a lot of parents are misunderstanding or seeing those two types of behaviors in their children as the same thing. And when we do that, it is really detrimental to our child's ability to calm, to regulate, to problem solve, to move on with their day. And this is something I want to talk about. I've had a few conversations lately about kids misbehaving, kids seemingly intentionally, deliberately pushing parents' buttons or pushing siblings' buttons and doing things on purpose or melting down, tantrums, a lot of that stuff. So that's what I want to talk about a little bit today. I'm going to check and see who is hopping on. Say hello if you guys are watching. If you're watching later in the replay, just put a hashtag replay. I want to be able to come back and say hi to you guys. So also let me know, whereabouts are you watching from? I can see there's a few beautiful people on live. I can't see yet who that is, but let me know who you are, where you're watching from. And is this something that is news to you, or new to you, I should say, that concept of the difference between when our child is intentionally misbehaving, let's say, versus having a stress behavior. And I want to go through the differences of those. And there are different ways we need to be able to deal with those. We should have different goals or aims in those situations, right? So let's talk. Hi guys. Hi Becky. Let's talk first about a stress behavior, because I wonder whether a lot of the behaviors we see from our child are actually stress behaviors, but we see them as intentional. I remember having a conversation with a parent, beautiful parent, who was actually, she was the mum of a girl that my son was in the same class as last year. And her daughter was having a meltdown outside the classroom, not wanting to go in. It started off, gradual, it built. It wasn't one of those 0 to 100 ones. And, I had a conversation with her mum, obviously very carefully. She knew what I do for work, parent coaching, and explained about sometimes our child will begin with what seems like they're misbehaving, being defiant, saying no, challenging us, like I said, pushing their siblings' buttons, things like that. Sometimes it appears or begins as one type of intentional misbehavior. Often that can evolve and does evolve into a stress behavior. We need to be able to recognize that, because if we're treating our child's stress behavior as in a big meltdown, something they can't control, we can see their body is just so dysregulated, they can't connect or talk to you, they're in the midst of that like big meltdown, then we need to know how to handle that, how to navigate it without simply trying to raise our voice to make a point or to get them to be quiet or stop, without threatening things like timeout or seclusion or isolation or punishments. The list goes on. So is this making sense to you guys? I would love to know. Hello, for those of you who are watching. What do you think about your child's behavior when they seemingly begin by being a little bit defiant, or, like I said, challenging, but then maybe you feel like sometimes there's fuel that's added to the fire. Sometimes we try and treat our child's behavior one way, and we try to use a consequence, or we try to threaten, if you keep doing this, then I'll take away that, for example, and that builds. That's the thing. This can throw our child's nervous system into even more of a dysregulated state, and we see behavior exacerbate and get worse, right? So as I was saying before, the difference between stress behavior and misbehavior, let's go through what a few of those differences are. And let me know in the comments in Facebook if you think, oh my God, that sounds like my son. Oh, that's my daughter. We had this moment this morning, that kind of thing. I would love to know. And ask me your questions as well. Put them in the comments so I can have a read. So a misbehavior, I really don't even like that word, because think of the lens that you have on your child's behavior when you feel they're misbehaving. We are very judgmental. We get frustrated. We get triggered. That lends us to throwing out these punishments or some knee-jerk reaction, right? Because we want to stop that behavior in its tracks. So when I talk about a misbehavior, it's when your child appears to be relatively calm and regulated compared to dysregulated. So they are moving calmly. Their movements seem intentional, like they're choosing to poke their sibling or take his things or say no to you. They still have a level of like coherency, and you're able to have a conversation, or you're able to negotiate, or they're even bargaining with you. So you're having this back and forth. That means that their upstairs brain, the upstairs logical, rational, regulated, calm part of their brain is still online. It's still engaged. So you're able to have a conversation. You're able to talk to them. They might need reminders. They might seem to ignore it, but they're in this calm, regulated state. And yet they're doing the wrong thing or an unwanted behavior, or they're being disruptive, whatever it is. So the difference between that and a stress behavior is when a child is displaying a stress behavior, they very often will look almost out of control. They are so dysregulated. Their nervous system, meaning their brain and their body, is so dysregulated that they are not able to think straight. They might not make sense. They might not give you eye contact. You might see beads of sweat on their eyebrows and their nose. They might be going red, heating up. They're wildly flailing about, making jerky movements, or they're slamming doors. They're being really hurtful, or those knee-jerk reactions, and you can't connect with them. There is this state of disconnection. We need to recognize when our child is not in that connected state, because there is no time for conversation or discipline or consequences or any kind of let's talk about this and work it out, calm down, or I will take that off you. There's no time for that, because their upstairs logical rational brain is offline. They're acting out of their downstairs brain, their emotional brain, their primitive brain, where their gut reactions, their anger, their fear, their attachment, their reflexes, all that really, really, really primitive basic stuff is going on. That's how they're acting. They're not having that complex thinking, and those cognitive skills often just go out the window. They make poor decisions. They do things they otherwise wouldn't say or do, right? And they don't seem to be able to control it, or they're not aware of it. So like I'm saying stuff that you guys are going to be like, yeah, I've seen both of my kids like that. My kids are 4 and 7, and they will have moments of those. Not very often now. Like in a way, I'm proud to say, on one hand, I'm like, guys, I'm human. I also have those moments where the kids blow up, or, and I don't handle things well. But on the whole, oh my goodness, our home is so much more calm than it was compared to a few years ago before doing this emotional intelligence stuff. We went from like meltdowns and tantrums and exhausting days and just like disasters to couple of speed humps throughout the day, and then we're on with our way. So much more calm. So I really invite you guys to have an awareness about the difference between when your child is having that intentional, calm, like logical, doing the wrong thing, needing our coaching and our guidance and our mentoring, captaining the ship. That's what we need to do for our kids. That's our role. Yes, we need to discipline our kids, because discipline means to teach. And a disciple is someone who's a learner. This is not about punishment, ever. So when your child is in a stress behavior, what is your goal? What is your aim? Parents will say, well, for that to end and for them to be happy again. I totally get that. But your aim Your actual aim or your goal needs to be, in those moments when your child is in this huge stress behavior, is to help them to regulate their nervous system, to calm back down, to switch on that upstairs rational, logical brain so that you can then have a conversation and they'll then be receptive and you can do a bit of problem solving about, wow, that was huge, wasn't it? Yeah, your emotions really bubbled up and blew over. I get that. So we need to help our child by co-regulating. That's using ourself, our body, our nervous system, our energy, helping them to calm. Because if we're trying to do that too soon, we're hitting a brick wall. We're not ready. That's what I wanted to leave you guys with, right? Okay, misbehavior is so different to stress behavior. We cannot treat them the same. We cannot jump in with a consequence. We can't jump in with a threat or a punishment. Our goal cannot be simply to stop or squash, suppress that behavior. Even when it's a harmful or hurtful or dangerous behavior, of course, then we need to jump in and protect or set a clear boundary or stop one child from hitting another. Like, of course we can do that. But our goal in those big stressful moments isn't to quickly like squash that and teach a lesson and ensure it never happens again. We need to come from an understanding of our child's brain, our child's development, knowing what drives behavior, challenging behavior, which is emotions. Emotions are energy in motion, emotions. It's much more simple than we realize. I want to say, if this is not the way you grew up, or if it's not the way you parent, or this is new, totally get that. This is a new way of being for a lot of parents. Honestly, right now, there's a movement, such a movement. It's so exciting to be in this community, to see it grow and to see parents jump on board. It's a massive movement, because 10, 20 years ago is when, probably 10, 15 years ago, is really when all the research and the knowledge came out about emotional intelligence and how we can do things a different way with our kids. We can actually respect them. We don't have to just because I said so, and if you don't, then I'll take that off you. We don't have to do that. But it wasn't the way a lot of us were raised. 10, 20, 30 years ago, our parents didn't have this information. So they did the best they could, which is what we're all doing. But when we know better, we need to do better. And that rests with us. It's not going to be our kids. It has to be us, right? We're the cycle breakers. We're the circuit breakers. That's us. So I'm going to leave it there. I've got to go in and sort out TV and YouTube and navigate that. But reach out to me, guys, if you have any questions. I have just started my 10-week parent group, so that's off the ground and running. And I've just finished with 2 families over the last week or 2, which means I have space to chat with some new parents, which is very exciting. Then I'll be back at capacity. If you need any support, if you need that time, want to chat about one-on-one coaching, let me know. Now is the time. This is your opportunity, and put it out there, and then it will go, and then it'll probably be 2022. So if you're struggling with your child's behavior, if you're struggling with your own triggers and you feel like raising your voice or shouting is the only way to get through to your kids and get them to cooperate, it does not have to be that way. I promise you, there are so many things we can do to connect, to communicate with our kids in a way that works and that feels good. Right, I'm going to leave it there because I really should go in. I'm always trying to honor my word, and if 5 minutes is 5 minutes, then I've got to go in. So I will leave there. Ask me any questions, reach out to me, guys. You can private message me here on Facebook, or you can go to stephaniepinto.com and read about my work and how we can get in touch and stuff like that. So that's my invitation to you. All right, guys, have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. See ya.